Ascarid worms, one of the most common parasites, infect several hundred worms in the gut. When eggs fall to the ground in the feces, they retain their infectivity for 15 years. The larvae emerge from the swallowed eggs in the small intestine, then penetrate the intestinal wall and spread to the organs, pass through the capillaries into the respiratory tract for 8 to 10 hours, then move to the mouth, mix with saliva and are swallowed again. Within 2 months, sexually mature ascarids are formed in the intestines. The lifespan of ascarids living in the intestine is 1 year. In the absence of reinfection, ascarids are eliminated from the body in 1 year. Grown ascarids damage the intestinal mucosa and feed on ready-to-digest food, vitamins and minerals in the gut, instead releasing their own feces. As a result, intestinal erosion, ulcers, constipation or diarrhea, toothache, nausea, vomiting, skin rashes, itching, blemishes, hair loss, anemia, dizziness and fatigue occur. Ascarids sometimes multiply to such an extent that they mix with each other to form intestinal obstruction. Ascarid larvae feed on blood, and eating half a liter of blood a day is dangerous. Although most doctors sometimes treat her symptoms for years, the worms are not remembered. Blood tests are sometimes used to diagnose ascariasis, but it is best to have both stool and blood tested. After treatment, it is necessary to analyze only the feces, because antibodies are formed in the blood 1 month after infection with worms, and even after the destruction of the worms, their long-term presence in the blood leads to excessive and unnecessary treatment. Prophylaxis against roundworms. To protect against parasites, fruits should be washed clean. It is better to wash the greens after 2 to 3 hours in water with 2 to 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Children's nails should be caught and they should sleep in bedding. Children need to be taught to wash with cold water after going out, because after washing with cold water, the worms are forced to lay their eggs in the rectum, not around the anus, and eventually get rid of the worms naturally. If one person in the family has such a worm, everyone should be treated at home. Treatment of roundworms early in the morning. Children eat 50, adults 100 grams of pumpkin seeds. After half an hour, 1 teaspoon for children, 1 tablespoon for adults. Senna leaves should be infused in 1 glass of water. The procedure is performed for 3 days, repeated after 3 days with a break of 10 days. During treatment, a person develops nausea, and worms also experience nausea and release their intestinal piles, and after a working drink, the worms shed. Pour an equal amount of milk and apple cider vinegar mixture on 100 grams of pumpkin seeds and mix until the paste is obtained. It should be eaten on an empty stomach in the morning for 3 days, and half an hour later to drink tea. Infusions of sagebrush, yarrow, feverfew, wormwood and rose hips help to get rid of ascarid worms. Mix 100 grams of each of the herbs I mentioned. Boil 1 teaspoon of the mixture in 1 cup of water for 3 to 5 minutes and drink 1 cup 3 times a day before meals. The duration of treatment is 10 days, can be repeated after a break of 15 days. In addition, it is more advisable to take teasel tea made from a mixture of mild laxatives and wormwood. Adults 3 times a day, children 2 times a day. 1 filter pack teasel tea infused in 1 glass of boiling water. The treatment lasts 10 days. After 2 weeks, it is necessary to analyze the stool and check the result.